the spark, or sparks, that led James Naismith to create basketball. Naismith's inspiration is much the same as the characteristics of the game itself today. Taking an assignment he did not want, anxiety, frustration, peer pressure, dread of a staff colleague, teammate, outshining him, taking the position, not being the best at the job. Then the joyride downhill of those frantic 2 weeks, winning, for him, the fulfillment of connecting with a team, a class, that he was told was impossible to connect with. Basketball was created in an emotional cauldron and remains that way. Emotions are baked into the dynamics of basketball from birth. And now, the frantic final 2 weeks when Naismith created basketball. So it was that Naismith reported to his regularly scheduled faculty meeting on a morning in early December 1891. The subject before his staff of colleagues from their boss, Superintendent Dr. Luther Gulick, was, how do we teach a phys ed class with 18 notorious young men? The winters are long and harsh in Springfield, Massachusetts, keeping restless, hyper college athletes, these were ages 18 to 22, pinned inside with few, if any, competitive adult indoor games to play in the 19th century. Naismith listened as the two teachers, who had both quit the class, spoke at the meeting of how it was an unruly group, not listening to instruction, an aggressive environment of high-strung, rowdy young men, always ready to tangle. Today's term probably would be a high testosterone group. One of the teachers said he had tried picnic games like adolescent potato sack races. The second teacher tried introductory gymnastics and military marching. Nothing works. It's a group of incorrigibles, said the teacher, labeling the class forever. But Naismith, he stood up and said,
"We are failing these students. It's not the students' fault. It's us. We're not appealing to their more mature sports interests."
Imagine the probable anger, annoyance of the two teachers in the room listening to this. Perhaps thinking, my own colleague has the audacity to think I'm a failure, and he says it in front of the boss? The awkward silence in the room was broken when Superintendent Gulick made a decision.
"Mr. Naismith, you will take over this class."
Naismith protested.
"I have no time for this."
He recited his packed schedule. He saw this addition as an annoyance, an imposition. He was deeply irritable. It was a combustible situation to take on an aggravated, aggressive class nicknamed the Incorrigibles. Superintendent Gulick was not angry, but he was adamant. He told Naismith to adjust his attitude, accept the job, and create an indoor activity that would resolve the tension with these students.
"You've talked about inventing a new game. This is a good time for you to teach these young men to channel their aggression."
Then he gave Naismith 2 weeks. That was the next staff meeting. He would succeed, or he'd be the latest knockout by the Incorrigibles. The day before his final class, he gives them free rein. He says, open gym for 60 minutes, wants to study what they do. He's resigned to failure, dejected, walking up the stairs to his office in the gym with the staff meeting the next day.
How I hated the thought of going back to my colleagues admitting I too had failed.
Can you imagine the peer pressure he's under? Those two teachers are going to be in the meeting, likely wanted him also to have capitulated. But at the 11th hour, Naismith says,
I can still recall how I snapped my fingers and shouted, "I've got it."
His eureka moment? No running with the ball. If a player can't run, there's no physical attack. There's no violent tackling. And it eliminates mindless retaliation, too. But if a player can't run, what can the player do? Pass it. This was one small element, but it seemed to unlock the framework of a game that had been marinating in his mind. He wrote 13 rules, most of which still guide today's game. When the Incorrigibles walked in the next day, December 21st, 1891, they showed a curiosity, even an intense interest. Naismith had nailed 2 peach baskets at opposite ends of the 60-foot floor. It's 35 feet wide, no lines on the floor, with obstacles of gymnastics apparatus and weights stored around the edges of the bare court. And to score was elevated. The nailed peach baskets are 10 feet high, unique because in every other game, scoring was fixed on the floor, and the men would jam right in front of any goal with multiple bodies to keep anything from scoring. And that jamming led to pushing, led to elbowing, and ultimately fights. Now the goal, the basket, was high in the air, and rule number 5, no shouldering, holding, pushing, tripping, or striking in any way. The Incorrigibles needed to find a way to play this game outside their comfort zone with minimal contact. There's 18 men. They go 9-on-9. The final score, 1-0. William Chase scored from 25 feet, three-pointer today. At the end of the hour, the men don't rush out of the gym. They ask if they can stay and play longer. Naismith is elated, but not so much that he has invented a game for the ages. It's more relief that at his faculty meeting coming up in a couple of hours, he will report he has not been run out of the gym.
I could go to Superintendent Gulick and tell him, I could put up, I didn't have to shut up.
Back from the revisit, which I hope you enjoyed, there is no name for the game as Naismith reports to that faculty meeting. But an incorrigible names it a couple of weeks later. He wanted Naismith ball. That was vetoed by Naismith. But he did allow basketball at its birth, 2 words. This was part of episode 2. Pick it up at about 8 minutes for how his morning of day 1 began. Happy to have you revisiting on the Coach's Road, where basketball coaches travel along with passionate hoop enthusiasts. Coach Burrows, over and out.